Hello, Math 7 students. This is Mr. Kraft coming to you from my house. I want to talk about some of the stuff that you're encountering on the current assignments and upcoming assignments. So what I want to talk about is area and perimeter. Okay. If you have any polygon, any shape in a plane, and let's say this is 2 units wide, 1, 2. Let's say this is 3 units long. 1, 2, 3. Perimeter means the distance around it. And we did some of this while we were still in class. So if this is a rectangle, you know that this will be 3 also, and that will be 2. So perimeter equals 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2, which is 5 plus 5, which is 10. Area. Area means the region inside this here. You notice that I drew little lines across. It was 2 units tall and 3 units wide. And if I connected that, it makes a little checkerboard with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little blocks or squares. And each square is a 1 by 1. That's the area. So the area in this case is 2 times 3, which equals 6. Perimeter is measured in feet or inches or meters or miles or whatever. Area is measured in square feet or square inches or square meters or furlongs or miles or whatever. We say square foot. We abbreviate it FT to the second power. So you don't read it foot squared, you read it square foot. So IN to the second power is square inch, M to the second power is square meter, and so forth. Perimeter can always be figured out by adding the sides. Now, we talked about a little bit about quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral has 4 sides. Quadra means 4, lateral means side. The most general quadrilateral looks something like this, and there's no name for it, it's just quadrilateral. If you have one pair of sides that are parallel, this side and that side are parallel, the other two are not, that's a trapezoid. If both pairs are parallel, these two guys are parallel and those two guys are parallel, you have a parallelogram. This is a review. We've talked about this before. If all 4 sides of the parallelogram are equal, it's a rhombus, or H-O-M-B-U-S. If you have a parallelogram where all the angles are right angles, it's a rectangle. And if you have a rectangle where all 4 sides are the same, of course, that's what we call a square. And a square is also a particular form of rhombus too. Okay. So, Each of these, or almost all of them, has its own special formulas. So for area, for a trapezoid, two parallel sides we call B1 and B2. And the distance between them we call the height, h. So the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 times B1 plus B2 times h. So if B1 was, say, 6, B2 was 8, and the height was 4, then you would just have 1/2 times 6 plus 8 times 4. And just to remind you that we're using more algebraic ways of showing this. In an algebra, we don't use the little time symbol like that. We don't do that. We just put things straight together. So 6 plus 8, you do the parentheses first. 6 plus 8 is 14. Now you've got all multiplication, and it doesn't matter what order you do that in because of the commutative property. Half of 14 is 7. So you've got 7 times 4 is 28. And if those units had been, say, inches, 28 square inches. So that is your area for a trapezoid. For the perimeter, you would just have to be given all 4 sides. You'd have to add them. For a parallelogram, where both sets of sides are parallel to each other. So a parallelogram has the height, which is 8. Let's say in this case it's 7. And then the base, let's say it's, 9. Area of a parallelogram is VH. So in this case, it would be 7 times 9, or 9 times 7. I put the H first, it doesn't matter. 9 times 7 is 63. If it was meters, it would be square meters. A triangle, and I know I said I'm talking about quadrilaterals, but you'll see why I'm doing this. The area of a triangle is 1/2 BH. And that is not a coincidence because guess what? Every triangle is half of a parallelogram. Every parallelogram, if I split it down as diagonal, is 2 triangles. So that is not at all a coincidence. That's the way it works. Okay. For a parallelogram, suppose I knew that this was 6. The opposite sides are the same, so the perimeter would be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 9 is 18, and that would be 30. And that would be plane meters, not square meters. All right. A rhombus is just a special parallelogram, so same for it. Well, a rectangle really is the same thing as a parallelogram. It is a parallelogram. Say this was 4 by 10 units, say meters. Well, for a parallelogram is a slanted rectangle, or a rectangle is a straightened out parallelogram. For a parallelogram, the height's inside, but this is the same thing as the height for a rectangle. Except instead of calling it that, we call it width, and this is length. So for a rectangle, we say area is length times width, which is really the same thing as base times height. For a parallelogram, we just call them different things. So in this case, the area would be the length, which is 10, times the width, which is 4, which would be 40. It's in meters, so it would be square meters. Perimeter is twice the width plus twice the length, which would be 2 times 4 plus 2 times 10, which would be 8 plus 20, which would be 28. That would be plain old meters, not square meters. All right. Now, a square is just a rectangle or a rhombus or a parallelogram, what have you. Suppose it were 3 feet long or wide, whatever. Well, area equals length times width. The length is the same thing as the width in this case. So sometimes for a square, we say s squared, side times itself. You know what? It's exactly the same, different ways of looking at the same thing. We're going to get 3 times 3, which is 9 square, I wrote meters, feet. 9 square feet. Simple as that. And sometimes the perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Sometimes for a square, they say 4s because the length and the width are the same. So it would be 2 times 3 plus 2 times 3, which would be 6 plus 6, which would be 12 feet. Or if you did it this way, it would be 4 times 3, which is 12, which is exactly what we said earlier. Don't get hung up on the formulas, people. This is what screws people up. Do what is the easiest thing. There's different formulas for squares. I show you those because some textbooks will do them. Don't make it harder than it is. It's not really hard. The last case is just a generic quadrilateral. This is not a parallelogram, not a rectangle, not a rhombus, not a square, not even a trapezoid. Nothing is parallel. There's nothing you can do with this. You would just add side plus side plus side plus side to get the perimeter, and you would have to break it down into triangles, figure out their heights and so forth to get the area. We're not going to do those like that. We're not going to do examples like that, so don't worry about that. Okay. Last, suppose you have a complex figure. We'll start with a simple L shape. And suppose they tell you that this is, say, 16 meters, and this here is 12 meters, and this is 20 meters, and this is 10 meters. And they say they want the perimeter P and the area A. The first thing that seems to be a problem is you don't even have all of the information. I don't know how big this side is, and I don't know how big that side is. But that's okay. Assuming that all these are right angles and this is rectangular in shape, this length here plus that length there has to be the same as this length. So 20, shorter part, plus 10, that has to be 30 meters. Not hard to figure out. Same way here. This whole distance has to be the same as this 12 meters plus what's ever left. So 16 meters minus 12 meters is 4 meters. Now I have all my information. So now perimeter is easy to do. Perimeter's going to be, if I start here, it's going to be 10 plus 4 plus 20 plus 12 12 plus 30 plus 16. I just went clockwise around, counted all my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. 10 plus 4 is 14. 14 plus 20 is 34. 34 plus 12 is 46. 46 plus 30 is 76. 76 plus 16 is 92. 92 meters. And of course, if you would have wanted to, you could have just set it up like that. And added it up. 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 is 6, 12, carry the 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You would have got the same answer. Area. I'm going to bust this up, and there's two different ways I could do it. I can make it a little rectangle there and a bigger one there. Or I could divide it this way. And either way, I get the areas of the two rectangles and I add them. Doesn't matter which way you do it. Let me do it this way first. So the little one is 4 by 10. So I'm going to say area 1 equals 4 times 10, because the area of a rectangle is length times width, 40 square meters. Area 2, the second, 30 times 12. 3 times 12 is 36, so 30 times 12 is 360. Square meters. And 360 plus 40 is 400 square meters. What if you would have done it the other way? So let's demonstrate that. I'll do it in a different color so you can see. So suppose I had done it like that. Then I have area 1, 10 meters by 16. This one here. 10 times 16 is 160. And it's going to be in square meters. This block in here, the unshaded one, going to be area 2. Going to be 20 times 12. 2 times 12 is 24, so 20 times 12 is 240 square meters. I take area 1 plus area 2 to make the total area. So 240 plus 160. 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 and 4 is 10. Carry the 1, 2, 3, 4. 400 square meters, which is exactly the same thing as I would have got if I would have done it that way. That, people, is all you have to do for the areas of complex figures. Okay, I'm going to leave it at there today. I hope you're enjoying the way things are going right now. I hope you're enjoying your time at home, and hope you're getting your schoolwork up to date and all. And I hope that as soon as things get back to normal, I'll be able to see you all. In the meantime, I hope this video is of use to you, and goodbye for now.